Losing rich homie Quan out of the blue was nothing short of wild. Everyone thought it was an accident, but there's talk that he may have been set up. You know we gotta dive deep into this, cause if the rumors are true, it changes everything we thought we knew. Let's break it down and see what's really going on. So let's begin by talking about rich homie Quan. Quan really switched up the rap game, but a lot of folks don't even know how wild his journey was. He took Atlanta trap mainstream and had some crazy beefs with his own crew. Quan grew up on the east side, living with his mom and siblings, and would stay with his dad on the weekends in Decatur. Back in the day, Quan was all about reading and playing baseball. He was so good, he even got a scholarship to play at Fort Valley State University. But after a couple of weeks, he had to drop out because college was still too expensive, even with the scholarship. Without baseball, he didn't have much of a plan, so he started working at the airport. But that 9-to-5 life wasn't for him, and that's when Quan started breaking into houses and robbing them. In a 2022 interview with Vlad TV, Quan made it clear that he wasn't robbing houses when people were home, though. The first time Quan hit a lick, he didn't even know what was going down. His homies picked him up, telling him they were just gonna cut some grass. Quan had no idea they were really about to kick in a door and rob a house. He didn't even go inside that day, but they all still got caught and went to jail. Quan got out the next day, though, and realized he could actually rob houses if he moved smarter than his boys did. He spent a couple of months breaking into cribs, but it wasn't long before he got busted again. This time, he got booked for another burglary charge and ended up locked up for 15 months, and that's when things really changed for him. Before Quan went to jail, he was already rapping, but he wasn't serious about it. For the first 6 months behind bars, no one even knew he could spit. Then one day, some other dude came to the block and started freestyling. Quan knew he was better, so he jumped in and started rapping too, and everyone went crazy. The dudes inside were loving it so much, they were giving Quan snacks just to hear him freestyle. That's when he realized he could really make it in the rap game. Once he got out, Quan set up a little studio in his mom's garage and started recording. Everything changed when he linked up with a dude named Teezy, who was making some noise in the underground scene. Teezy took Quan to a real studio for the first time and showed him how the rap game worked. But then, Quan took a big hit when Teezy got shot and killed. Losing his homie like that made Quan go even harder in the booth. He bought more equipment, got back in his mom's garage, and spent everything he had pressing up CDs. Quan hit the streets, passing out CDs all over Atlanta. That's how a dude named Fly heard him for the first time. Fly ran an independent label called TIG and wanted to sign Quan right away. In his interview with Vlad TV, Quan said he was dead broke when he signed the deal for $19,000 and told Fly to break him off $400 a week instead of taking the whole bag at once. Quan started getting serious buzz when he dropped his first mixtape, Still Going In. Then in 2013, he really leveled up, working with big names like Gucci Mane, YG, and Jeezy. But it was his track Type of Way that really blew up and went gold. Rich homie Quan was on fire, but in 2014, things went to a whole new level when he linked up with Young Thug and Birdman. Quan and Thug already had a few tracks together, so they hit the studio to work on a full project. Then Birdman stepped in and made them the faces of his Rich Gang crew. Everybody knew Quan and Thug had chemistry, but no one expected how crazy their collabs would go. When they dropped Lifestyle in 2014, it was an instant hit, went platinum, and took over the game. A few months later, they followed up with the mixtape, Rich Gang, The Tour, Part 1. It looked like Quan and Thug were about to run the game together, but out of nowhere, things fell apart. Most fans have no idea about the wild story behind their beef. Right after they popped off, Quan announced he was stepping back from Rich Gang to focus on his solo career. Back then, no one knew there was drama behind the scenes. But then Young Thug went on tour with Travis Scott and called Quan stupid during a show. Quan later said in an interview with ESPN that the diss hurt his feelings. But no one really knew what kicked off the beef between Quan and Thug at first. Fans thought it might have been over money or industry drama, But the real story was way more brutal. A couple of months before Quan said he was stepping back from Rich Gang, a dude named Big Nut got shot and killed in Atlanta. Big Nut had a lot of respect in the streets and was tied to the rap game, especially with YFN Lucci. He was also cool with Fly from TIG. Back then, Thug, Lucci, and Quan were all tight. But everything changed after Thug's YSL crew was allegedly involved in Big Nut's death. Big Nut's murder set off a wave of violence in the city, and cops say at least 4 people died because of the situation. Quan was cool with Big Nut too, and rumors started flying that he stopped messing with Thug because of what went down. Turns out, Thug might have been involved in the shooting of Quan's dad too. Back in 2014, YSL Woody and one of his boys rolled up to the barbershop that Quan's dad owned and started shooting. Quan's dad got hit 4 times and almost didn't make it. There's also some paperwork that allegedly shows Quan talking about an argument between his dad and Birdman. Supposedly, Quan's dad had beef with Birdman and wanted Quan to distance himself from them. The word is, Birdman tried to take Quan's dad out to force Quan to sign with him. After a video and the paperwork surfaced, people started calling Quan a snitch, but Quan hopped on IG Live and said he'd give $1 million to anyone who could prove he snitched. He said, "Buy my name and paperwork, right? We can trade lives." When Young Thug and YSL got hit with that RICO case, news dropped that Quan was listed as a potential witness, but that didn't mean he was going to testify against Thug or even get called to court. Quan's name did come up during the trial though. While YSL Woody was testifying, a lawyer asked if Thug had a problem with Quan bringing gang members to his apartment. Instead of answering, Woody asked Thug the same question and had the whole courtroom laughing. Woody also spoke on Big Nut's death, saying it had nothing to do with YSL. He claimed the beef was with Quan over something else, which led Woody and his crew to shoot up the barbershop Quan's dad owned. A clip of Woody talking about the shooting went viral lately too, but in an interview, rich homie Quan called Woody a liar. Quan admitted the shop did get shot up, but said Woody was blowing things out of proportion. He even added, "The same day it got shot up, it was back open and running." It's still unclear what really went down, but after Quan tragically passed, Woody shouted him out on Instagram saying, "I hate this happened. I pray God protects Thug and them from this country." Quan's beef with Young Thug was definitely the biggest in his career, but he had issues with other rappers too. Back around 2014, when Quan was really blowing up, another Atlanta rapper named Johnny Cinco started beefing with him. It's not clear what started the drama, but Quan and Johnny went back to back on several tracks, dissing each other. While a lot of people didn't know about Quan's beef with Johnny Cinco, he made bigger headlines when he had some drama with Future. When Quan started blowing up, people began comparing him to Future. At first, Quan didn't mind, but then Future threw shade on Sway in the morning, calling Quan out for using the same pattern as he does. You can't say "turn up" or use the same words as Future because people will start comparing you to him. Luckily, the beef never got too serious, and after they ended up sitting next to each other on a flight, they squashed it and had no more problems. Quan wasn't just dealing with industry beef though. In 2017, he was looking at 30 years in prison over drug and gun charges. He got pulled over with his crew on the way to a concert, and when the cops searched the whip, they found a stolen gun, weed, and ecstasy. Quan fought the case for 2 years, and it could have landed him behind bars for decades. But in 2019, the judge threw the whole case out because there wasn't enough evidence. A couple of years before the drug case, Quan made headlines for allegedly punching a security guard who wouldn't let him into a Miami club. Reports said Quan hit the dude and then dipped out on a boat to escape the cops. It turns out, it wasn't even that wild. He was just spotted partying on a yacht, and that's how the rumor spread. After stepping away from Thug and Rich Gang, Quan kept pushing and dropped Flex. The track blew up, but it was his dance that really went viral on Vine. Quan was making noise in the industry on his own, but label drama started slowing him down. Tig was allegedly playing with his money, so he took a break from dropping music to handle business. He made his comeback in 2017 with Back to the Basics, under Motown Records, but by then, he'd already lost some of his momentum after that year-long break. In 2018, Quan finally dropped his debut album, Rich as in Spirit, and while it did decent, he didn't have any major hits. He kept putting out projects after that, but was also focused on other money moves. Quan started investing in real estate and was pulling in millions, showing everyone that he didn't need rap money to stay living good. Still, Quan made it clear that he was always going to make music. By 2024, it seemed like Quan had left all the drama behind and was focused on himself. In July 2024, he told Revolt, "Remember me as an original, as an artist who did it his way. Remember me as a hard kid from Atlanta with a dream, who believed in himself, bet on himself, and won." But just a few days ago, the shocking news dropped that rich homie Quan passed away. At first, it seemed like just another rumor, and no one wanted to believe it. But then TMZ confirmed it. He was really gone at just 34. Reports say it was an accidental overdose, and one source even claimed it was from a bad pill. TMZ got hold of the 911 call from his girlfriend, who said Quan wasn't breathing and didn't have a heartbeat. He was laid out on their couch, not responding, and when she moved him, he started foaming at the mouth. She said,
"My boyfriend, he's been asleep on the couch since this morning. Well, he never came to bed last night, and I just checked on him because I see he never got up, and I don't see him breathing. I don't feel a heartbeat or anything, and I turned him over. I see he kind of foamed at the mouth."
This ain't the first time Quan allegedly had drug issues, though. When he was shooting the walkthrough video in Atlanta, things went down. No one knows exactly what happened, but supposedly he had 2 seizures, fell, and cracked his head. Rumors popped up that it was because of lean, but after getting out of the hospital, Quan shut it down. He said he'd been traveling for 3 days straight with no sleep, and the heat in Atlanta was just too much for his body to handle. He admitted, "Yeah, I turn up. I don't deny that, but I ain't addicted to anything, especially not drugs, and I wasn't sipping lean on set." Still, some people weren't buying it, because Quan came up as an athlete in Atlanta and should have been used to that heat. New details are emerging that suggest rich homie Quan's tragic death might not have been the accidental overdose many thought it was. While initial reports pointed to a possible overdose as the cause, new evidence has surfaced, sparking rumors that something more sinister could be at play. The full results from toxicology tests and investigations haven't been released yet, leaving fans and the media speculating about what really happened in those final moments. Some folks are starting to wonder if Quan was set up. Could someone have slipped him something without his knowledge? Or was there more going on behind the scenes that led to his untimely death? With so many unanswered questions, the theories are swirling. From shady business deals to old beefs resurfacing, the streets are talking. People close to Quan haven't ruled out foul play, and now everyone's waiting to see if the final reports will back up these suspicions. While the world waits for the full story, fans are left questioning how such a powerful figure in the rap game could be taken out like this. It's heartbreaking to think that there might have been more going on than what we've been told. All eyes are on the upcoming reports, but until we get the facts, it's hard not to speculate about whether Quan's death was more than just a tragic accident. Quan's influence on the rap game was undeniable. After news broke about his death, artists from all over jumped on social media to show love. 2 Chainz posted a picture of them together, saying they were just talking about shooting a music video. OGs in the industry like Big Boy also showed love, recognizing the massive impact Quan had on the game. Rich homie Quan might have passed too soon, but his influence and legacy in rap will live on forever.